Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Hashtag look it up. Hashtag look it up. Hashtag look it up.
What is this? Where am I?
It was a little warmed up from the Christmas episode I'm dropping with the Cold Rejects. By that time, you guys already should have heard it. Let's make deposits into the bank of knowledge. Welcome back to the Trebles Show, ladies and gentlemen, formerly known as Paranoid Radio. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. If you're on YouTube and on Rumble checking us out today, thank you so much for the engagement. Make sure you check us out and drop a comment and content and a like, and then also engage with us. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe. The most important thing that you can do for the show is word of mouth. Tell everybody about it. Now, do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Guys, I am surrounded with love. I had a beautiful Tuesday afternoon today surrounded with my babies and surrounded by my mic and my wife, and we have work, and life is okay. It's not always doom and gloom. So for everybody out there right now in December, and you guys get to hear this episode, I really hope you guys are enjoying the holidays and vacations and the love surrounded with your family. All the food, all the smells, all the great stuff. Now let's jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the freaking mood. He's been here before, and let me bring up his stuff because I forgot his bio. He is a psychedelic philosopher, alchemist of tears. That's a badass one. Messenger of love. He wrote the DMT Field Guide. Adam Butler, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Man, I'm excited to talk, man. I feel like we've both turned a few new chapters since our last conversation. I'm excited to riff on this one.
Yeah, man. Yeah. On December 1st of this month, I was a year sober from alcohol and a year and 6 months sober from meth. So
Big, man.
yeah, man. I was
Yeah, that's incredible. And even just, take a moment for that because I'm sure without knowing your history too in depth, to know that could have probably took a dramatic turn in the other direction, and man, what that could look like as opposed to now, as before recording, talking about the mission of spreading light and love and connection. And it's just, I applaud you for what you've been through because I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy to talk about this stuff, and I know it's not easy to kind of air your dirty laundry to the public. And I know it's personally helped me, and I know it's helping other people. So keep doing what you're doing. You have my support.
Thank you. I appreciate your love and support, bro. Where can people find you, bro? Tell me again about your book a little bit, and then we're gonna dive deep into the next series of the show.
Yeah, so I guess what kind of broke me into even these types of conversations in the podcast kind of content scene is the book I wrote a few years ago called Butler's DMT Field Guide. And it was a book I wrote to kind of take some of the taboo-ness away from some plant-based medicines, psychedelics in particular, and DMT in particular. And as we were mentioning again before recording, that was the book that opened up several doors. And since then now, that has expanded into just so many incredible opportunities, so many opportunities for me to expand my consciousness, my inner circle of just awesome people, and really expand the message of what I'm trying to share. And as much as I'm happy to talk about DMT, psychedelics, and those altered states and some of the fireworks and again, rainbows and unicorns that can be seen in those spaces, it really is about human connection, people understanding self-knowledge, self-love, and not banging their heads against the wall like you and I had done for a large portion of our lives. And to know that, and you mentioned too about this time of year, if people are going through some hard times, if things aren't all love and light, and I know that that's not the case, to know that there's a lesson there to be learned in all of this. And it's maybe corny and cheesy to say, but the light on the other side of this is going to be worth staying around for and seeing. And yeah, now you and I are good examples of what can be seen on the other side.
1000%.
So, and to answer your question, anything to do with books by Adam Butler or Butler's DMT Field Guide, I'm easy to be found and I'm easily to be reached out to.
I encourage everybody to make sure you check out the description of the show where you're going to be able to find the links to all his stuff, email, and all the books, and also his social media sites. I went to add on to what you said. Yeah, 1000%, bro. I wholeheartedly can admit today that I am the best version of myself towards my kids, my wife, and my family members, because not only because I found Jesus, bro, on an intimate level, but also because I was able to control where my 2 feet lay. Dive into learning about me. Doesn't matter who you voted for. Doesn't matter who you want to vote for in the future. You can't change the federal government, and you how not can change the world and the world's elite controlling everything that you consume. You can't do that. What you can do though is change your thought patterns, change your intent, and then resonate with people that love you from one step to another. I used to start my show during June with if you are going through any issues in life, you could be a woman, you could be a father, you could be any type of that. But check on your dudes because dudes' lives matter. If you're going through any situation, reach out. It only takes 1 second to reach out to one more person. You have a computer with information, milliseconds of information, huge amounts of information, and you can reach out to anybody. You can reach out directly to me on Instagram. My phone number is attached to my Instagram account. Or you could also drop a message on my DMs and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Sometimes all you got to do is belong to somebody, belong to a group, belong to a tribe, and I'll be there to listen. Do not off yourself. And with that message, also, if you're suffering through anything, make sure you could also reach out to Adam Butler. He was very willing to express and be there, support and guide people through issues. So make sure you check out the description of the show, bro.
Can I add on that too? Because it literally just happened today and not only yesterday and the day before, but I think I mentioned that last time. That's been such a beautiful blessing about writing this book and about sharing that message is I'm getting really heartfelt messages and responding to them because they're making my life better. But what I want to say is that my word, your word, and I suggest or I applaud anybody that stands up and shares their voice because you don't know when exactly how you say something is going to resonate and that exact person needs to hear it. And I'm the perfect example of, that this weird looking guy with a funky accent from New England that's talking about these far out there subjects. And I'm getting contacted from people of all age ranges, all backgrounds, people that have no interest in psychedelics, and really people that just want to talk and want to be heard and I'm not acting like I'm a therapist, and I'm certainly not acting like I have the answers or that I have some magic pill. But sometimes people really just want to be listened to and heard, and you may be able to be that person that can offer, an empathetic and sympathetic ear. And if you have that capacity to do that, like you and I have, please do, because as you and I will then say, it is always as rewarding. You always get something out of it. And I've become a better person from each one of those interactions. So it's not like, I'm being used as some energetic sponge for people to suck my light and love out of. It's almost like it's a multiplicative, synergistic thing that happens. And yeah, man, if anybody's sitting there down in that light, love, or that type of vibrational energy, I'll help, jazz that up, and then I'll send it over to you, and we'll make that shit happen. And yeah, it is possible.
Thank you so much. You message me sometimes on the out of the blue, and you message me, you tell me, yo, sending love and prayers and blessings to your way in abundance. And I'm like, yo, like I needed that more than you think, bro. So it does happen. It does trigger and it does synchronize with people. Believe it or not, one message away. You're one message away from
Mhm.
from being at a better spot emotionally and also physically. And yeah, man. So very important stuff, bro. Last time you were here, we spoke about the book and we dove briefly into it. I want to dive a little bit deeper so that people can get a better context of your book and what you offer and the information that you went through. Please open up. Well, last time was like an introduction to DMT and on training wheels, I would like to say.
Well, yeah, and I made it as an approachable field guide. So it's roughly 100 pages to read it from cover to cover is 3.5 hours. So it's not, a thick history of trip reports. It's not some big scientific, tome that has everything written in it. And I didn't want it to be that. I wanted it to be approachable for people ultimately like me. And that person like me is something that I thought I never would become. And, I'll be happy to go into more of the details if you'd like. But really, at 40 years old, and I'm 45 now, I'm coming on 5 years sober. Actually, New Year's will be 5 years sober of alcohol. And that was a big part of me really starting to look at myself in the mirror. And I had a bunch of things happen in my life, and I take responsibility for all of them. And in hindsight, I'm responsible for all the shit that blew up in my life. But from lost relationships to blown up jobs to threatening to kill someone to basically being homeless to having every material good to then having nothing. I used shrooms and DMT in particular to really have a huge perspective shift that I say truly changed my life, and it did. And now that has carried on to, like we were just discussing, that change of perspective has changed. into everything. How I look at myself, my health, my interactions and relations with others, my job, my relationship with money, how I interact with men, with women, all of those things. And really, I guess the so before I kind of go on like the rant or what I'm really trying to share, the book was written because I didn't want to sensationalize DMT. I say straight up that psychedelics and DMT are definitely not for everybody. But for the person that needs a kind of psychological shaking and to have that societal plaque removed, and to, if you've been at my age, 40 something years old, and banging your head against the wall for years and sweeping everything under the rug with alcohol or drugs or just running from your issues and realizing that that got me to the brink of literally not wanting to be in this planet anymore, to then come on the other side. And I'm not out of it. I still have a big pile of shit I'm still working out of. I still have a lot of things that I have to be addressed. So it's not like I'm some enlightened soul that now is, everything's great. But I'm so tuned in and dialed in with myself, with what resonates with me, what stands true to me. And what I think is universal, whether you're into Jesus Christ, if you're into DMT, if you're an atheist that's not into either one of those, I think the desire to know yourself, to learn how to love yourself, but to be comfortable in your own skin and truly
Mhm.
comfortable in your own skin. Not like, hey, as somebody that's a psychonaut and likes to explore psychedelic spaces, I don't always want to be in the psychedelic space. I don't always want to be in the DMT realm, nor do I think somebody who has a religious bent, like, you shouldn't wait to be in heaven. You shouldn't wait to be with Jesus. Like, you can be with him now. You are in heaven. Like, you can create that own
Whoa.
heaven. It's being knowing that you're not trying to be an eagle or a tiger or an old you or a new you or an ancient you or in God's grace now, like to be here right now, truly with me, with you, with your daughters, with everything going on in our lives, and to not want to be anywhere else, anybody. Like that's for me to come full circle when I couldn't even sit with myself, and not only I hated myself, but I hated society and everybody in it, to really being like, I'm good. And I'm good with whatever the fuck happens. And that's a powerful place to be because now I can be my authentic self. And that has been attracting people like you into my life and a lot of other beautiful things. So it's proven that, yeah, let's keep going in this direction.
Whoa. Key thing, being comfortable with your own skin. Do you know how many people are out there trying to be something they're not?
Can
I
I? And
myself was one of them.
I just had this beautiful conversation with my girlfriend who is, again, to add a different perspective. She's a young, beautiful woman, occupational therapist, mom of three, one of those, two of those three are sets of twins. So she brings a lot of different things to the table. And we were just talking about, women as they get older, as they go through, menopause and has how their bodies change, and then how really the synaptic connections in their brain change from being the person that always has to keep the family alive and almost has to like be the people pleaser to kind of
Mm.
survive and to keep the family there. But now as you get older, those responsibilities have changed, and now it's kind of morphed into taking care of yourself a little bit more, putting yourself first a little bit more. And even as those dynamics change, even if it's, a natural progression of life, or even as I'm getting older, what's going to happen as I stop being this kind of strong alpha male, go to the gym twice a day, strong to like, oh shit, no, he's really like an older guy. You can get into those things gracefully. You can get to the end of life period gracefully. You can uh, there's a way of being comfortable with those transitions, knowing that we're not going to be who we were yesterday. No, we're going to be who we're going to be tomorrow. And to be comfortable in that moment allows you right now to look into your daughter's eyes, me to look at that girlfriend who I just mentioned who's sitting in my bed, where it's like I get to interact with her afterwards. I'm to be here present now in that second. And to really, I guess, tie it full back circle, really. When I had my epiphany moment on that day that I first experienced DMT, and I really pushed it and I really explored the depths of my consciousness, the sum of all of it, the sum of that crazy kind of transformative day was to appreciate and be present in this very moment, this very millisecond. And it really is the corny Ram Dass be here now, like that kind of really epiphany moment of just don't be anxious about the future, don't be stressed about the past. Be able to be present, and you already said it. You're putting your 2 feet
Whoa.
down today. You're moving forward. You're not who you were, or the show you were, or the vote you were, or any of that shit. And nor are you got that going to be in the future. You're who you are right now. And right now, you can stand on the guy that's a year sober from booze, a year and a half sober from hard shit, and who's leaning into what feels right. And that if that's God, family, love, connection, and helping others, dude, I got your
Woo.
back, and you're gonna have a lot of people that do. And fuck anybody else that looks at you and says, "Oh, that's not my message." All right, cool.
Yeah.
Then go over
Hmm.
there.
Hmm. Go over there.
Like
Bro,
whatever.
just to go back about the New England accent, there's nothing worse than my accent, bro.
Well, so I just in full disclosure, I shared your voice message, with my mom earlier, and I was saying about how fantastic it is that there's very few people that I feel talk faster than me or like say like words in a kind of cadence like you do.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to jam with you because man, I feel like if you and I could get passionate, or when we get passionate, man, we could
Oh yeah.
we would make a hell of a cartoon duo, like a Ren and Stimpy, but like a spiritual Ren and Stimpy, or like I
That'd
don't
be
know, maybe that's not
amazing.
the best example, but like yeah, I don't know, something like that, Pinky in the
It's
Brain or
actually
something.
it's actually something that people tell me all the time, especially in the intros, like, yo, bro, like, do you talk like that all the time? And it's funny, yesterday I was at a live. I was on a live yesterday, and what happened? Also, I was having technical issues. Spectrum was outside fixing some wires. My internet was down, so I was trying to do it off my phone. It's not the same, right? Because I have to shout a little louder, and then the lighting ain't the same. It's just different. Everything's off. So I was like, okay. Finally, the internet turns on back again, and I get back on StreamYard, and everybody's waiting. Where everybody's having their conversation. I'm in and out, in and out. So they go like, "Yo, bro, you're pushing all through those tech giants." I'm like, "Yeah, man, forget these tech giants, right? I'm really trying to go through like a warrior and trying to be here, at least present." And finally, when they give me the microphone, bro, I blew the gasket off. No, they were like, "What the heck, bro? Yeah, bro, you're coming to my funeral. You're gonna be the MC at my funeral."
Uh,
It was
I
funny.
love it.
Yeah, man. So you know what,
Yeah, but
bro?
even with
Being
with with that though, like even when adversities or even little whatever, if technical glitches happen in your podcast recording, then you're blessed, right? I mean, and same thing. If some of the things that happen in my life that I'm talking about, I'll happily take these if those are my adversities. But part of that being comfortable in your own skin is knowing that things aren't going to continually go your way, knowing that there will be roadblocks in areas where your path gets diverted. But those are opportunities to learn, to grow, to listen to those kind of stress signals in your life or those indicator lights, that are blinking, and to take it as an opportunity, as like wow, as a blessing, as a synchronicity that's there to be meant and retained, not as a like, oh, what the fuck, I'm in traffic, or I missed the exit, or I'm late for this, or my wife is taking an extra 10 minutes, or whatever it may be. All of those things kind of get then turned into, all right, the universe in the past has always showed me love and protection. It has always showed me a lesson. Every one of these times that my path got altered was a badge for me to learn. And it's not that you start looking for adversities or looking for like your path to get corrected. But when it does happen, there's not this like woe is me frown frump a dump like, oh, what the hell, it's not going my way. It's almost like, all right, cool. There's always going to be a lesson to be learned here. And you know what? Maybe if I lift my head up, there's an old war veteran that I need to talk to, or maybe there's a beautiful woman, or I just had the most amazing experience, and I've talked about this little dude multiple times. I was at the airport where most people are miserable and pissed off. I had this like 10-minute eye to eye gazing stare off with this 6 month old little boy with the fattest cheeks and the cutest little blue eyes, and like, man, that was truly one of the best 10 minutes of my 10-day vacation was just this innocent interaction with this little 6 month old little boy. And it's like how many people just walk by that kid and or even worse, walk by that kid and was like, "Oh, I hope I don't sit near them because that's gonna be a crying little baby." As opposed to I saw him and was just like, "Oh my God, look at this enlightened little soul. He's still so connected to Source and he's radiating." And I just want to be next to him. And the fact that he chose me to lock eyes with, man, I just felt so blessed. And then that led to a conversation with his mom, with his dad, and his little sister. And it became this really wholesome thing that in my meditations now, like he's come up in my thoughts and visions, and it's like those are the type of interactions that can happen every day,
Mhm.
all day. When again, you're comfortable, you're not trying to be any place, you're really
Mhm.
present,
Mhm.
and then even the simple things. That's when you can enjoy every meal, every cup of coffee, every song, um, all of the stuff. As opposed to, I know when I was numbing everything with alcohol, or it was always, well, I'm making this, but if I make 2x, I'll be better. If I make 5x, I'll be better. And if I have this, it was always just more, more, more of the next, or I don't know, man. Where now it really is just like cool. Yeah, it's Tuesday the 16th at my time, 8:12. I'm fucking blessed. I'm good. My heart's beating. I'm happy. I'm smiling. Like I'm with you. I don't know. It's a great
It's
place to be.
almost as if, have you ever seen that before? There's a saying in Spanish, de algo me está guardando Dios, which means from something I'm being saved from. God is saving me from something. That's actually the right way to not direct translation. So I'm like, okay, What does this mean? I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Sometimes we have to travel. So I wake up 25, 45 minutes late for work. Mind you, I clock in at 4 in the morning. It's 4:45. I used to run, boom, boom, I used to get up and, oh, my shoes. Now I wake up, I look at the clock, I'm like, oh, man, 45 minutes. I take the time, send a text to 2, 3 people. Yeah, I'm going to be late, I'm going to be late, I'm going to be late. Put the phone down, breathe, take a look at the baby, check she's okay, look at my wife, wake up, and take my time. Like nothing happened. I'm not going to rush, first of all. Accidents, mistakes, I can forget things. There's a way I do things in the morning to leave everything out for my wife so that she wakes up, she's ready to go too. So it's kind of like you can't skip those steps. God is
Including
saving
the
you from the
energy.
moment.
You know, like even if you're like, yeah, all right, well, I left her coffee and I cleaned the dishes, but still, if you're leaving there and you're leaving the house all tense and you're like pissed off with energy and screaming and slamming shit, like that's not the energy I want to wake up to, as opposed
Yeah.
to the kiss on the forehead, I love you, honey, and whatever, the coffee's waiting for you. It's just, and again, it's such a beautiful example that you just stated because if you're comfortable and the whoever you're working for is comfortable, you'd appreciate the conversation between two grown adults or two grown men to say, "Yeah, bro, I woke up a little bit late. I'll be there. Just letting you know I'm safe. And thanks for the heads up." And I feel like part of my now moving forward with whether it be my next career path, my interactions with people like you on podcasts, my relationship interactions is I'm really, really comfortable setting up my boundaries and expectations and I was listening to a lecture from Carl Jung the other day, and it was about setting up those boundaries and defining that when people typically say boundaries and you're setting them up in either relationships or your personal space, that's negative and you're restricting access and that you're blocking people and you're putting up walls because of fear or whatever. And it really not, because then on that walls of boundary, there are those gates of clarity. And that's where he went in depth about having it directed toward those gates of clarity is you make it very clear for everybody around you what's expected, what you're going to resonate with, what you're allowed with. And if you start a relationship with any employer and you're on that respect level, like you should be able to have those gates of clarity to be like, yeah, I take this job very serious. If I am late, I'll call you, I'll man up, I'm not going to run from it, but realize that may happen. And I don't know, just to just always be comfortable where you never have to tell a lie, you never have to exaggerate, and you never have to make excuses or bite your tongue. You can just freely express yourself. And when you do that, the stress and anxiety that you don't have makes your life just like, oh yeah, this is great. You don't need the booze. You don't need to yell. You don't need to run from your shit. You just make love to your wife, smile at your kids, walk your dog, and life is good.
I have lived that. I text my boss and the person that opens with me, I'm gonna be late. The guy that opens with me pissed off all the time that I get away with it. But it's not I'm getting away with it, bro. It's not. I send a message my boss, he doesn't even reply, he just puts a hands up. He knows I'm gonna be late. It happens very often. It happens at least twice a month. But then again, my boss knows, yo, Angel, I need you to come in on Saturday. Sure. How many hours? 6, 4? Yeah, I got it. Don't trip. You got the key? Yeah. He's able to wake up and make sure that everything's done. It's set ready for the next day. And he doesn't have to even come into the office at 5 in the morning. He could come in at 9 or 10 or 12 or whenever he's done with his stuff. It's about security, conviction, and also having responsibility, being accounted for. And it comes also with people that are serene, people that have their ducks in a row, that have priorities straight, that are clear-minded, and are grounded to awareness of themselves. I understand now that when I picked up that beer, it was three tall cans and a vodka bottle daily, would come home smelling like booze. The first thing I would do is attack my wife for any little thing that came out of her mouth. But what triggered her to do that? The cause and effect of the morning, because when I woke up in the morning, I left a mess in the restroom. I left dirty clothes here, I left it over there. I left all the pieces that she had to pick up after, extra weight. I did that in the morning. I left that frustration go up. So when I get home, she attacks me. So then I attack back because I'm not thinking straight because I'm freaking drunk and in need, right? Because I'm being what I like to say, greedy. And then the kids feel it. And then it goes a week with no sex, no food, right? And I feel like I'm the victim, like she's the one that's messing up. But in reality, who's leading the pack? It takes, especially for a man that's protecting, professing, and providing for his family, and is the sole provider of his family. I need to make sure that my ducks are in a row, and that my wife can say, "I trust him to lead." And when I say, "Hey, you're stepping out of line," she understands, and she doesn't nag back. You understand that it's not coming out of a way of revenge. That's coming out because, hey, babe, something I don't feel this way, and we have communication. Even communication is better when you're not drunk and freaking. Everything is. It's beautiful. It's flow.
Yeah, so much to unpack there. So a few things. Again, I applaud you for having this recognition because you even said it. Your kids pick up on that energy and vibe, and it's really for us to kind of break some of this generational whatever, whether it be alcoholism, whether it be talking to women in a shitty way. And part of my story is I got a restraining order where I got kicked out of my house because I was verbally and spatially abusive. Now, I've never raised my hand and I've never been in any fights or anything like that. But that being said, I still was a very dark, shitty, angry, aggressive personality type. And yeah, we need definitely to break that. But just a perfect example of how I can go on rants about how it's great to be comfortable in your own skin. And look, this is how it prints, this is how it looks. You can work as a landscaper and be happy. You can live in your parents' basement and still be blissed out when you've owned 15 homes. I use all of these examples, but sometimes it's shitty to go through what it looks like when you're not comfortable in your own skin and when it's like, oh, this is my routine. And part of you talking about coming home after the 3 cans and the pint of vodka was, I would always, and I was a bourbon and a double IPA guy, so it was always the stronger stuff. And I would always, come home after a day of work, get a 6 pack to drink on the way home, or typically a 6 pack in nips. And not only so the whole time you're driving, you're hiding, you're trying to be shady. So again, definitely not
Word.
comfortable in your own skin. But then I was always stop at either McDonald's or Burger King and get fast food, not because I was hungry, but because that way I would have kind of shitty breath. And instead of my girlfriend at the time smelling booze on me, it would smell like fries or like a fucking Big Mac. And then she wouldn't want to hug me, she wouldn't want to kiss me, and I could kind of just brush that off as like that would be almost another barrier. And so not only running from your
I'm not
problem
the
with
only one.
alcohols,
I'm
running
not the
from
only
that.
one. I want
Yeah,
you
but then
coffee.
now that's why you're 40 pounds overweight, and then again the no sex, the no whatever, or then even that, you get beyond that initial threshold. All right, fine, you made it through the door, and then before sex you get to bang a couple more shots, or sneak a couple more beers, or then you've already had your 6 pack and couple shots, but now you're telling her, well, I can have a couple beers while you're doing work. Yeah, a couple beers, you're on fucking 8 and 9, not 1 and 2, and all of those things, and then again, you talk all day about the steps that one would take where you're being deceitful to yourself and the people around you, as
It's to
opposed to
yourself,
now,
really.
it's like I'm bursting through the door, and if I've got coffee on my breath, it's like, oh, I just had a great espresso, smell this, or whatever. If it is because I have whatever, some fucking lamb chop on my breath that was great, I lean into that. It's not like, oh, don't come into me because I've got something to hide. And it really, it's kind of one of these selfish things where it just physically feels good to live in that type of non-stress. And it's not like I don't want to make it out like I don't give a shit and I don't care about what other people what people think, or that I have this massively thick skin. It's not that. I'm actually hypersensitive. I'm very emotional. I do care, but I put it all into perspective where I don't allow it to alter my path. I don't allow it to really land or stay. And I'm really just, my vibration and frequency is always so much higher than any of that negative shit where it just instantly bounces right back up and I don't dwell in it like I used to before. And I say that, that it just becomes this really easy self-repeating habit to get into of the healthy prayers, the working out, the eating healthy, the being conscious of having enough water, the consciousness of even, you know, the healthy open communication with your spouse. You'd be amazed at how therapeutic and beneficial that can be to most people's lives, where most people have this antagonistic, combative relationship with their significant other, where they don't realize, man, that's the key to unlocking a lot of beauty and unlocking a lot of potential and allowing the male to be more feminine and the feminine to be more masculine and to do it in a way that really enhances each person's lives. And that's something that, I lost
Wow.
3 long-term relationships with amazingly beautiful, talented women that would have been amazing partners if I didn't mess it up. Where now, Yeah, no, I lean into every one of these aspects of the woman I'm with now, and it's only made me a better person, but also a better relationship with my mom, my sister, my nieces, with with the tough guy in the airport, with everything. But yeah, once that dynamic
Wow.
shifted too, where
Mhm.
yeah, you stop looking at yourself like an enemy, and then the people in your immediate circle, and you realize they can be your biggest asset, and yeah, life just becomes better, easier, funner, more enjoyable. Where you're not even thinking about getting drunk or running from like what like imagine how embarrassed you would be if you came home drunk and not been able to make love or not been able to take care of your daughters or like oh no daddy can't cook because whatever I can't get off the couch. Ugh, like that's like the
I
worst nightmare.
I used to be. This is the first time me ever saying this out loud. I wasn't doing it in the closet. I was the type of guy that so my routine is on Saturday mornings. I love doing the laundry because when I was I've been always an independent dude. So I like doing the laundry for the family. Like that's what I do. Like I don't, my wife, like she does it when I'm not around, but like I do it religiously. This is the way I like folding stuff is I have OCD. So I go and I get my laundry in the morning, get the bags and everything. I go to the laundromat. I used to go to the laundromat 6 in the morning, bro, because I can't sleep past 6. And I would put the clothes, pull out the bag, do 2 lines, and then sit there and watch porn or watch social media, just browse for 2 hours. Then I'll go put it into the dryer, wait another hour or so. 4 hours went by, and I'll go home, 6 a.m. High as a kite, drunk. And then my wife would notice, like, you're sweaty again. She'd just stay quiet. But I could see the deteriorating emotion in her face. My baby would talk to me, ignored her. I was constantly, I gotta finish this real quick, and then I gotta go outside. For what? Because
Ugh,
I wanted to go bust another line.
right.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to the store real quick. For what? To go buy another fucking beer. So it was constant. The only times I have to spend with my time, but my family during the weekend, I didn't. I was spending it by myself, ruining myself, and ruining relationships with my beautiful kids.
Hmm.
So you see what I'm saying, right? I was that disgusting
And
guy.
and I want to add too, as I just came back from an amazing 10-day trip out west where I went to Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Texas. Like I went out there. Um,
Mm.
I my alone time, my time by myself in the woods, or so it's almost like you do definitely need to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, and part of that is that alone time in that space. But instead of taking that 4 hours and doing the shady shit, like whatever, doing the crap that you were doing, you're going for the walk to climb the mountain, or you're going to a hot yoga session, or so it's like part of I think part of this being better with yourself is that yes, you become a better relationship and kind of interact with other people, but you also know how to take that time with yourself and not waste it, where it becomes, this beautiful kind of dichotomy of way of living where you love your alone time, but you also love that connection to others. But you know, I don't want people to think like, oh shit, I go away and I need my alone time. So what does that make? Does that mean I haven't
No,
reached
no,
some
no,
certain
no.
level where it's like, no, it's
I
almost
still do
like
the
you've
alone
got to be
thing.
able to love the both aspects of it.
I still do the alone thing, but I change it. It doesn't take 4 hours to do the laundry. It takes an hour and 20 minutes to do the laundry now. And guess what I do in
Right.
my alone thing? You know what I do? I post up videos and I start editing my podcast because now I have a hobby that keeps me entertained
Hmm.
and also growing mentally and educationally. So, and then the networking. I spend that entire hour by myself with zero music, just the AC on, relaxed, networking.
Hmm.
Just doing
Or
what I love
praying,
doing.
right? Even just praying, praying to God, praying of connection, praying
Yeah.
for whatever guidance, giving
Yeah.
thanks, right? Like
Gratitude.
yeah, or even thinking about how you're gonna get home and what you're gonna cook for breakfast with your family, as opposed to, oh, I think I got a couple beers in the garage or whatever. Like, yeah, I left a little stash over here. It just
Mhm.
again, one you're constantly running away, and the other one you're leaning into. Like, wow, I created this,
That's
and
exactly what it is. Mhm.
a lot of people need to, I think, realize too, where, and one of my close friends is in the position where he's got two healthy kids, an amazing house, an amazing business. His wife is successful. They've got all the toys and all the things on paper. And sometimes he's just got to take a step back and realize, like, fuck, I am this fortunate. But he's earned it. Him and his wife have earned it. No one's handed it to him. Like, they're in their mid 40s and they've been a successful couple now for 20 something years, and it's like, yeah, dude, like enjoy it, realize it, you've earned it, like, and that doesn't mean walk around and with this kind of like braggadocious, arrogant, like you're better than anybody. It's just the opposite. Just know that, man, you've created an amazing life and enjoy it and embrace it. It's not always looking for the next thing or the biggest house or the next whatever. It's like you've attained every one of your dreams. Fucking live them. Like, take a moment.
Gratitude is one of the most important pieces of this puzzle. I think this entire conversation has been to uplift and guide people, especially the ones that have the self-doubt.
Hmm.
Friends, listeners, subscribers, women, children. It's a chain reaction that you can break today. It's a chain reaction that you could lay off of. It's something that you can and you are capable of doing, that you can achieve. I'm not the best. I'm not the best example. There's other people, for example, Adam right here, that has written a book. People that do the research, people that have transformation and have helped other people to transform. I'm not saying that you have to reach that type of height, but you can. You definitely, you have to, all you got to do is start small and reach out for people to help you. You can't always blame yourself and live in shame and guilt and not forgive yourself. Self forgiveness, self awareness, and self preservation are key in order for other people to live in abundance around you and for you to attract it, quite honestly. I've been having the worst time trying to convince myself that that I'm in control when I'm not. I try to control people's life. I tried before. I'd be manipulative, gaslighting, and try to use my voice and and behavior to have people do certain things. I did it with my family when I was a kid. I did it here in my marriage today, and I can honestly tell you right now that has only led me to destruction many times. Self-destruction. It starts with you. It really starts with you. So it's a very beautiful testimony today that you helped me endure. I mean, not only endure but also speak of, especially the laundry thing. I never told anybody the laundry thing. That was like a secret for me. It was a shameful secret for me, and now I can
It's
say that
great.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Dirty
yeah.
laundry.
Fucking lean into it because it's a real life practical example of not just this like ethereal airy fairy woo shit like, oh, this could happen. It's like, no, this is real life stuff, because then it's like, oh, you had a great meal and then you had great lovemaking with your wife and then you woke up and you weren't hungover and you could actually enjoy the next Sunday instead of whatever running from what you did on Saturday. And I want to mirror what you said too about starting small. And I think a lot of this is just having that awareness to say, hey, there is an indicator light happening. There is something buzzing, something in my life, whether it be my job, my health, my addictions, what I do on the weekends, how I do my laundry. If people are kind of having that buzz in their head, like, yeah, this isn't quite working for me anymore. It does start with small steps, and I think if people just kind of have that recognition or even just desire to say like that's already, like you're halfway there. I don't know whatever percentage it may be, but just to know like, hey, I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to be hung over anymore. I don't want to whatever, name it. Just to know that it's time for a change is a big part of that. And if you're already at that point, and typically maybe people, a lot of your listeners may be listening for that reason, where it's like, yeah, that's man, you're blessed, and maybe even better if you're knee deep in this shit and you're like, yeah, but I'm already at that freaking cliff and I'm like looking over it, dude. You're even more blessed because you're like right there, and you don't know how lucky you are. Because please just again make it finished out the day. Call me tomorrow and we'll figure out the next way to get to the next and the next, because you're like right there to use that beauty to lift you and that light to lift you. And it's a powerful thing, because I wouldn't want to live my life with all the material wealth and all of the false and negative shit that I had on me before. And on paper, everybody would have been like, "Oh, this kid's coasting," but I wasn't. And now maybe just the opposite. You look on paper and be like, "Wow, he's he's got some climbing to do," and I do. But I am so happy and content and blissed out, and my life is just amazingly wonderful being this human at this point in life. And whatever the hell else happens, I'm good with it. And that's a
God is
again
good.
that's a really, yeah, God is fucking amazing, and we all have the ability to tap into its grace and its power and its beauty and its protection and lessons. That there's it's something that as I get older and grayer and wiser, it's like, man, if you can pull out the lessons, you realize how blessed you are to be exposed to them, and if you can see and appreciate kind of what information is there to be taken out of each experience. Life just becomes a compiling of awesome experiences.
1000%. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to dedicate this episode to my 700, what is it, 700th and, no, I lost the count. Anyway, to the listener of the week. I haven't done this in a while. The last 4 episodes, I totally forgot to do the listener of the week. Listener of the week goes out to Ira Morphy. Ira Morphy. She is a metaphysics speaker, helping reconnect your divinity and create reality through masculine and feminine energy. She has a book too. I didn't even know that. Look at that. Nice follow. Hey, thank you so much for engaging, for commenting, and also following on Instagram. This episode goes out to you. I'm not sure if you're going to see it, but hopefully you do. Ladies and gentlemen, also, that is Adam Butler. Make sure you check out the description of the show. Adam, one more thing. I have one last question before you walk out.
Yes, I'm excited. What is this? Dun, dun, dun.
What is your favorite emotion? And have you ever weaponized it, and how did it change your life?
Oh, my favorite emotion.
It does catch people by the boo-boo.
Yeah, no, because I feel like I'm always talking about the positive aspects and that feeling of bliss. Um, so maybe my inclination would be to go negative, but no, it just came to me the emotion of flow. So that flow state, that emotion of connection where your time can just completely dissipate. And I've been in flow states through carving wood. I've been in flow states in writing. I've been in flow states in lovemaking. I've been in flow states in just deep philosophic meditations. And that emotion of almost non-emotion, of almost just disconnection from the physical inputs and really being connected to source. And I think maybe flow would probably be an all-inclusive way of describing that. But yeah, I love the emotion of flow because I feel like it brings me closer to my innate and natural state, and it connects me to whatever that source may be, however you want to name it.
I love that, bro. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check out Adam Butler and the DMT Field Guide. The book is going to be in the description of the show. Do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace.